Give a man an inch, he will take your smile. I'm talking to you, Nick. I'm talking to you, Ace. Let's get into the Love Island episode 6 recap. I am your host, Leah, of your favorite podcast, Positively Uncensored. If you are not subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, leave a comment, let me know that you watched tonight's episode of Love Island. If you're tuning in on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, like I said, you can leave a comment now on Spotify, so feel free to do so. I have a new mic, so I'm taking the liberty of talking a little bit quieter. I hope that all of you are able to hear me. I have it nice and close, so let me know in the comments if that's not the case. Let's get into the episode. The episode starts with Huda talking at Jeremiah about his kiss with Amaya. And she's like, no matter how many people told her tonight that you and I are like this, she's not listening. And I think she calls her a bitch for another time in this conversation. Now, mind you, I said talking at Jeremiah because he's not saying anything. I don't think he says really one word while she's talking. He more or less just sits there. And then eventually, Huda's like, like, I watched you the whole time during that kiss. I didn't see your lips move at all. I saw that you tried to make it look like you were kissing her. And he's like, well, like, let me tell you. And he's like, okay, well, were you kissing him or were you kissing her? And he's like, well, I was kissing her back, but I just didn't want to make her feel rejected. And we see him in the subsequent conversation shut things down with the Maya. So, I mean, at least we know that this conversation with Huda was accurate. I'm going to be honest. Everything that Jeremiah says from this point on, I don't believe him. After his first comment being, once we win, I don't believe anything he says towards Huda is genuine. After seeing his friend online posting, I don't believe that he has like great friends. That's my opinion there. Shelley talks to Ace. I think she's talking to Ace and she talks about her tattoo made in Miami. And they have a conversation about how he really doesn't know much about her. They may have followed each other on Instagram. They didn't say this in their conversation, but he doesn't know that much about her. So Shelley was born and raised in Miami. They have a conversation and talk about some of her passions. She likes to sing. She likes to dance. She acts like she's gonna like pull a Zendaya when she's at the table with Drake. She does not. She like acts like she's gonna sing and doesn't. Listen, I didn't even let myself get attached to them because I wasn't sure if Ace was plotting against Jeremiah or just messing with Jeremiah or interested in Huda, but it seems like Ace, listen, it's day 4 of Love Island. I get it. However, I feel like he was leading Shelley on. I feel like he was leading Shelley on. I'm just going to say it. Let me know what you think in the comments. But I feel like, yeah, I feel like he was establishing a connection. I feel like at first she was with Austin. So, because I think he was picked by Ulissa, right? Stole by Ulissa. So she was with Austin. And it's like, you could have had an opportunity to pursue things there. And now instead you're pursuing Amaya. And don't get me wrong, it seems like Ace and Amaya had a decent connection with each other. However, what happened to what you were building? What happened to this connection? So, like I said, Jeremiah has a conversation with Amaya where he shuts things down. He basically tells her that he's excited to watch other guys pursue her, and that the other guys are going to be fighting over her. And he's like, you should have seen everybody. They were so geeked during your performance. I don't know. I don't know if it's an ego thing. I'm an Aquarius, but I would be insulted. I don't need you to make me feel better. I don't need you to like be like, well, I'm not interested, but every other guy here is, like, I don't need that. I'm glad that when she parted from their conversation, even though she was being nice, she was like, well, thank you for letting me know that other people would be pursuing me, but that will not be you, because that's essentially what he said in the conversation. Now, during their conversation, Hada's having a conversation with Ace, and he's like, it's day 4. It's day 4. And just so you know, you're seeming very closed off, and that's not making you approachable to the rest of us. And she's like, well, that's not the case. I'm not closed off. If this isn't closed off, I don't know what closed off is. But she's like, no, I'm not closed off. Obviously, I have a stronger connection with Jeremiah, but things aren't closed off. I don't know. I don't know. I feel like things are closed off. Maybe she wants to have some backup options, but I'm not getting that at all. Amaya and Austin have a conversation, and every time Austin talks, I just tune him out. It's his voice, it's his mannerisms, it's the things that he's talking about that really never have any sustenance, it's his energy. Whoever said that Austin reminds them of Matt, Lizzie McGuire's brother, I hate you forever because that's all I see whenever he talks. I have this saying that I say personally that certain men give off little brother energy, which sort of means that they just annoy you and bother you as an attempt to flirt with you. And I feel like that's Austin. And we heard that already with how he would typically knock a drink out of a girl's hand, for example, as his go to move. Um, he did say that his frontal lobe is still developing and that that's one of the excuses he uses for everything. I won't be surprised if he tries to use that after he gets out of the villa for the things that were on his social media account. Nick has a conversation with the boys. He's talking to Ace and Taylor and tells them that about his interaction with Sierra in the photo booth the night before. And he says that Sierra mounted him and that he wasn't going to be the one to say no. And Ace responds to that and says, "You're going to lose one of them." And honestly, I appreciate both Ace and Alandria for being very honest with people because they're only, I mean, Shelley's honest too, but like they're like the only two people, like just like speaking up and being very honest. Shelley as well. I think that Nick acting like he had no choice but to kiss Sierra because she mounted him was gross. Stop making it sound like you had no choice in this. It's also making it sound like she was the one being very like assertive or like leading that interaction, and that was absolutely not what happened. And yeah, it just really lacks accountability. It's gross. And then it obviously wouldn't make her feel good when she's going to watch that back someday. So that's my opinion. I saw a creator say that Nick's a slut, and I've been saying that as well. Nick's a hoe. Nick's a hoe. He was quite literally probably built for this show, but I'm feeling bad for the girls as he does it. So in the dressing room, they have a conversation, and Alandria said that Austin is her friend. I think Amaya is talking about how funny he is. And I'm like, oh my gosh, these girls are in for the shock of their lifetime when they get outside of the villa and see that whomever Austin was presenting is not who he is. And it's interesting, right? Because we've heard about this trend of conservative men masquerading to date purposely liberal women and mislead them. And I guess that's now entered Love Island. That's what I'm seeing. Okay, it's morning time, and as usual, we can tell what's going on with the Islanders and which romances are happening based on who brings who breakfast. I do think it's interesting on Love Island that it's always the men who are cooking because there's always that like trad wife. There's tons of that being pushed lately, and it's usually the sense of like women are cooking for their husbands, they're cooking for their partners. So I will say Love Island is one of the few shows I see where that's reversed, and I do actually enjoy seeing that. It is something that brings me joy. Ace brought both Amaya and Shelley a plate, and Nick brought both Bella and Sierra a plate. We need Serena in the villa to like slam down the plate. That's what we need. However, I know it's early days. I know it's early days, and all of the girls are like trying to keep it cool and keep it respectful with each other. Did Austin bring Shelley a plate and I missed that? Was it not Ace? Somebody let me know in the comments. Continuing on, I want to point out how even though we can tell, I'm assuming that Shelley is like interested in Ace or was interested in him. Even though Amaya's there and she can tell that Ace is interested in Amaya and vice versa, she's not trying to stop that connection. And that's like the polar opposite of what's happening with Hutta and Jeremiah. Also the same with both Sierra and Bella's situation that they're having with each other. Basically, Hutta is the only one to be locking things down, her and Jeremiah. And at this point, I believe that he's only going along with that because he wants to win the show. And he thinks that he has a better chance of winning because they're the mom and dad self-proclaimed of the villa. Now, Austin wants to have a conversation with Shelley, and I'm like, get away from her, get a job. I'm just going to keep saying it. I thought they broke up the day before. Now, I'm guessing they didn't. They more or less were just establishing that right now it's not a romantic connection. Maybe just selfishly, when I watched that scene, I was hoping from home that they had officially broken up. But okay, he wants to have a conversation with Shelley. I don't want to throw Austin any compliments because, like just talked about, how he could, everything's probably disingenuous and he's like a wolf in masquerading in sheep's clothing. I do, at the very least, bars in hell appreciate the fact that he's complimentary to Shelley. We'll have to unpack and talk about later other stuff that I think about Austin. Undoubtedly, though, Shelley has amazing bikinis and Alandria has amazing heels, both of them. They have great outfits every single day. There was a moment. Okay, Charlie and Hannah share a kiss. I kind of don't even care about Charlie. I'm going to be so honest. I don't care about his connections. I don't think he's genuine either. I don't care about Hannah. I'm going to be honest. But yeah, they share a kiss. They make out. I'm like, good. Okay, you two. You two go over there and do your thing. I could care less. Alandria and Taylor chat in Soul Ties, and they talk about how she's a slow burner in real life, so the connection and the pace that they're moving at is actually like very on par to how she moves outside in the world. And they also talk about how the fact that they're friends now doesn't mean that things are purely platonic. It means that when they get to the physical level, that they could be even more comfortable and things could be even better. We could be seeing like a Serena and Cordell type situation with the fact that it was a slow burn. They had that banter, that comedy between each other. They were friendly. And we were also wondering at first, like, is she friend zoning him or what's happening? We could have a similar situation to that. I always appreciate a girl who moves very slowly just because I almost feel like it takes like a certain amount of willpower to do that and a certain investment in yourself to not let somebody take up that much of your energy and so quickly. I hope I articulated that well, but it's something I've always admired in other people. Okay, so like I said, Ace and Amaya, I'm not going to lie, they do have a connection. His impression of her laugh was funny. However, because I was like thinking he was building something with Shelley, I don't know. I don't know. I'm disappointed for her. It's hard for me not to be disappointed for the people who come in the villa first. And I'm sure that I'll love Amaya. I certainly don't feel like how Hutta did. That made me very uncomfortable. But yeah, I'm just a little bit disappointed. Now, Ace is short. He's short. So I know that someone better will come in for Shelley, but I'd like that to see done quickly because I don't know why we're getting so many women bombshells come in. Like Ulissa was one person who left the villa. So why are we getting so many girls? Okay, come on, stop trying to cause a ruckus with the guys and stir the pot and instead bring girls some options. That's what I would like to see. Um, Sierra has a conversation with Nick and she's trying to play it cool. He asks her, how does she feel about the fact that he brought two breakfasts out, one for her, one for Bella? And she's like, obviously it didn't feel good, but I'm trying to honor the fact that you have your own process and that you're moving through this experience in a way that feels good for you and that you're being open about it. And she does say that obviously it does really bother her, I think in her confessional, to be early 20s and in this situation. I feel for Bella and I feel for Sierra. I really do. I'm not going to lie to you. I was very worried that Nick was like using Sierra because he keeps talking about his sexual connection with her and then his physical attraction towards Bella. And neither of those involve seeing their heart or having like a emotional connection with them. So yeah, I feel kind of protective for both of them at this point, and I'm just like, maybe we should avoid K Fern, Sean from Boy Meets World. Maybe we should avoid him. So on to the recoupling ceremony. We have to take a second for Ariana's dress. She looked amazing. She had like a braid to the side. She looked cute. Her bangs were out. Her dress was cute. She always looks good in that bronze color. I swear she wore a similar dress last season that almost reminded me of Kim K at some award show one time where she looked like she was like wet. that I love those dresses on Ariana. So the first person to pick was Jeremiah. I think that they go in order of most predictable to least predictable person. So they start with Jeremiah. He obviously picked Hutta. Ace's face during his speech is just something to point out. I think he was very much like eye roll. Okay. He talked about how she's the first person he thinks of in the morning and he can't wait to roll over and see her. And she's very much someone that he could see doing things with outside in the real world. And this shift in energy after she said that she was a mom and his wheels started turning and he started thinking that he could win. I don't know. I don't know. Get him. It's just concerning. And you know what? I'm going to say this too. Tell me if people think that this is completely off base or overreacting, but I'm going to speak from how I would feel if I was Huda and I had what was happening going on with her ex and like all the shit online. I would honestly just want to be kicked out of the villa so that I could have my phone back and take care of things. Because yes, my family and friends are obviously going to try to come to my behalf, but nobody could handle the situation the way I would. And I would just be having a lot of anxiety. That paired with being away from my daughter, I would be having a lot of anxiety. That's that's just my 2 cents. Up and also, I don't feel like Jeremiah is genuine. I think that a lot of guys could be using her at this point to try to have this arc. Like, I'm surprised that that was Jeremiah's first thought. I can honestly say that my first thought was not like, oh, they would have a great winner story. That wasn't the first thing to come to mind. So the fact that the men are preemptively thinking that about who they're thinking throughout this season, I mean, yeah, and we're piggybacking right off of season 6. That was super successful. I don't know if this is the season. I don't know if this is the season. Up next goes Taylor. Taylor picks Alandria. This is a connection that I find very genuine. He says that they're very good friends. She said that they have a lot in common. It actually is kind of scary to her. If you're on TikTok, first of all, make sure that you're following me for all of my recaps, but also go look at Taylor's TikTok. I'm somebody who constantly quotes the Grinch, hate, hate, double hate, loathe entirely. And Taylor did like a skit to that. So naturally, I favor him even more than I already did. Taylor is, I think, the only man who I'm endeared to the most at this point. Charlie picks Hannah. We could care less. Like the crowd goes silent. Okay. Up next is Ace. He picked Amaya. I hate how they have to give a speech sometimes because it always makes it like Shelley couldn't even look up. Like she was just looking down. I don't think she had any high hopes for him to pick her. I don't think she wanted to make eye contact with him and make him feel badly. Shelley's just like such a sweet girl. I really do think she was probably thinking of that. And I also think that there's a certain bit of vulnerability and almost like not embarrassment, but like I would feel that way if I'm standing up there and waiting to see if somebody is going to say my name or not. I wouldn't want to make eye contact either because if you don't, like, I don't want to be staring at you or grinning and thinking it's about me and then feeling embarrassed. So preemptively, I would do the exact same thing. So Ace picked Amaya. He said that she's assertive about what she wants. He's excited to share a bed with her. I'm like, unnecessary, in my opinion. Unnecessary. But I get it. The pillow talk, yada yada. He wasn't referring to any like innuendos, but still, I just feel like that particular comment. If you were the other girl that was like in this love triangle, I feel like you would feel like, what? I don't have good chat. I just don't like it. It makes me feel icky. Austin picks Shelley. Again, at least I like the fact that he called her the Miss Beautiful Shelley because yes, she it was sitting there looking sad. I'm feeling so bad for her. I wish that this wasn't such a heteronormative show, and I wish that she was allowed to couple up with whomever she wanted to. I wish that they would bring people who are like open on with their sexuality. I would like to see if that's an option. Okay. I'm just saying other people have said Sierra and Shelley look a little sad. Maybe the solution is sit together at the next coupling ceremony. That's just like maybe a solution. Nick picks last because again, I think this goes from most predictable to least predictable. Nick was the loose cannon for this episode. He gives Sierra a clue that he's going to pick her once he says in the speech that they shared a moment in the photo booth, which was unforgettable. Bella's standing there and she's like, well, we didn't have a moment in the photo booth. Also, I am wondering, like, why couldn't any of the camera crew, any of the producers let her know that she had something on her lip? This is her final scene, that she might be leaving the villa. Come on. let her know that her lipstick came off a little bit right there or something, like help a girl out. But so he picks Sierra. And I'm going to be honest, I would have been really disappointed for Sierra if he didn't. Yet, like I said, give a man an inch, he'll take your smile. Bella compromised on her values. And as much as I was talking about this show not being the right show for her at first, I wish she didn't kiss Nick. Yes, yes, I'm like, okay, really? Like Love Island, everybody's making out with everybody. I wish that she didn't because it felt like she was trying to do that to give him what he wanted, which was a kiss to see if she could compete with somebody else. And you don't need to do that. You don't need to do that. You don't need to beg for a man. You don't need to show him your worth. You don't need to do any of that. Fuck Nick in that regard. Huda was sobbing for Bella. She was crying and Bella wasn't over him getting picked. I will say all the girls were really emotional once they got up in there. The preview did me dirty because I thought I was gonna have to be ready to stop watching. I thought they were gonna send Shelley home. Like the way that Shelley was crying, I'm like, is Shelley going home or is Alandria going home? Like if either of them go home, I don't know what I would do. I don't know what I would do. So at least I'm glad she's just a good friend. She's just feeling emotional. The episode ends with a preview for the next episode, which is Sierra finding out from Alandria, who I love. Again, she's always giving the gossip. I love it. She's always being honest. It's necessary. So she's like, listen, before Bella went home, they made out that night before the photo booth. They were kissing. I saw them. And Sierra, this is new information to her, obviously. So that's what we'll be seeing tomorrow night. Tomorrow night. Ian Sterling voice. Let me know all of your thoughts from episode 6. Again, it's not that serious. I think it's day 5 for them by the time they woke up. It's not that serious, but I'm disappointed. Ace, Nick, I'm not disappointed that Nick chose Sierra, but there's just like, I get it. Men will men. Let me know all of your thoughts in the comments below. I'll obviously be back. I'm either going to be back tomorrow night to talk about the next episode, or I will be back the night after that so that I can do Monday and Tuesday night for you. Let me know all of your thoughts. I finally tuned into Next Gen. I was dying to see Candy Burris' daughter, dying to see what's going on. I had a lot of thoughts on the first episode, surprisingly. So stay tuned. Let me know if you're watching that and have a great rest of your night. And make sure that you have the Love Island app downloaded so that you can vote. Okay, make sure. Like this video, leave a comment, support.